Hello everyone, and welcome back to Garden Inn, where it is actually a beautiful, beautiful rainy day for me in real life right now, and where I am so relieved because finally, after what feels like has been several weeks, and to be honest, actually has, of being so busy and so caught up in just life, being life, I finally have a chance to slow down and talk to you guys again. And in doing that, hopefully talk to myself a little bit and be able to make real some of the thoughts and hopes and dreams that I have of the upcoming beautiful spring. I know some of us, being on one side of the hemisphere, will actually be getting ready to celebrate your autumn, and I hope it is beautiful. But over here where I live in North Carolina, where the rain is currently falling on beautiful, beautiful emerald leaves, and the bluebirds and the goldfinches have been putting on their more spring and summer colors lately, and the mourning doves have been already making eyes and cooing at each other for easily a month, my favorite season is arriving. And I'm so relieved because I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's been really busy in my life lately. And I am so happy to have a minute to roll around in our beautiful pixelated greenery with the gorgeousness that is this little corner of the world that we make together when we step into this adventure side by side. And to take care of some of our garden in plants again while we just kind of catch up. Oh, and look at this teensy one! Oh, little one, who are you again? The dripping forest? Oh, I feel so bad. It's been like weeks since I have been able to pop in. And the poor little dripping forest hasn't grown at all. Maybe we'll finally use the clock to speed up time today. That might be something we finally do. But first off, well, let's practice not despairing over the fact that all of the plants have withered up because we're back again. And deep breath in, deep breath out. Just like we talked about in all of the other Garden Inn adventures we've had together, showing up is the first step. And here I am again. And now that things have really taken on yet another new era in my life, wow, look how beautiful these ones are! Oh my goodness, the tiny dancers! They have stolen my heart. They are so pretty. Oh, let's be sure to go ahead and like water and take care of all of the bugs on everyone, because I do think we've unlocked quite a few things and we have several new seeds to discover. So we're gonna have a lot of fun discovering more in our little pixel greenhouse in just a moment here. But first, I will need to catch you guys up a little bit, I think, because it's fun. I love settling into this garden and being able to talk to you guys here because it feels like I can let you in on the inside of what's been going on in my life. And if you guys have noticed, there haven't been those adventures, the daily Garden Inn that I was really pushing myself to do for quite a while. And it really helped to break the shell that had formed over me over the last few months for, and just a little trigger warning, because yeah, it's something sad, so you can skip ahead a little bit if you don't want to hear a sad thing. But it has been really hard for me the last few months because of when my little nephew died. It's still really hard to say, to be honest. It's still really hard to say, and it always will be. My little sister had her twins too early because they had some serious complications, and one of our little ones, little Kay, did pass away at 3 days old, but his brother, M, has been growing and growing. His brother, M, is still in the NICU. And a lot of you guys who've been around for a little while know that, well, that happened at the very beginning of November. November 2nd is when they were born. Way too early. They were only 24 weeks to the day. And you're supposed to wait till a lot longer than that before you're born. So it's a miracle that we've gotten this far with little M. And I will forever be so grateful to the NICU team that he's had. And to the little resilience. I've never met someone braver than my sister and this little guy. I'll tell you guys what. But yeah, that little M is still in the NICU, just in case you guys were wondering. Thankfully, he doesn't seem to have any long-term complications other than the fact that he just needs his little lungs to continue to grow and get stronger. His eyes seem to be okay. So far, everything else about him seems to be, at least at this stage of things, normal. And he is putting on weight like a little chunker now that he is past when he should have been born in February. But yeah, he's gonna be spending Easter this weekend in the NICU, and my sister has crocheted him the most adorable outfits in the world. She has picked up crocheting to pass the time while spending with him in the NICU, in between raising her 1-year-old and 13-year-old. So yeah, she's busy to say the least, my little sister. And that was what the era of my life has kind of been in. Obviously, my sister and her husband and her family, I never want to steal the limelight ever for this phase of all of our joint lives, but my sister and I are very close. She and I are the closest out of all of our family for a lot of reasons, a lot of special reasons. That also include that we know that she and I will always be there for each other, and we were in really difficult times growing up. Even if we did fight like cats and dogs a lot too, because it was a hard time. But I'm so proud of her. And I love her so much. I love her so much more than I ever dreamed I could, and like love anyone. And that's wonderful, because boy, we really were at each other's throats a lot growing up. But now, like I said, I don't know anyone braver. I truly don't. Nothing that Chips and I have gone through could really compare. And I'm so proud of her. And I mention all of that because I wanted to say out loud how amazing she is. I don't share a lot of details about what's been going on for her and her little ones because, you know, that's their life. Even though I know that my niece, who has grown up, she's 13 now, and she grew up with me being Seri the Pixel Biologist. She's so cute, and she has loved our series for so long, so I never know which series she's watching, but little Edie, if you are, Auntie loves you. And that's the thing, that's the era of my life I've kind of been caught up in the last few months. And it's not like things went back to normal either. They never will, not after something like this, and it took me quite a while to be able to kind of adjust to that. I'm so lucky that, like I said, my sister is the bravest person I've ever met. She and her husband, I have never been so humbled than to stand next to them just less than 48 hours after everything happened, and to see how they were just completely there for one another. And I won't share too many more personal details, but just what I mean by that is that ever since November, not only did at the same time that all this happened, I also get diagnosed with formally actually having ADHD, and I grew up in a household where actually all of the women in my family have ADHD. It's very strong genetic components. And all of the women in my family have ADHD, and most of them also have lupus, which that also is something that that I kind of more or less got confirmed I have in November too. Yeah, that all went down in the same month, actually within a few days of each other, and it was a huge shift. Any one of those things would have been huge to deal with, but that threw my cadence off when it comes to telling these stories and these adventures. And to be completely honest with all of you, it threw off... No, threw off is not the right phrase I'm looking for here. Those months of my life, which I've never talked about in so much, so openly before, except for here, right now, because it feels like it's okay to do that right now, they changed my life forever in so many ways. But also because I suddenly realized all of the things that were hard before, that I thought were hard before in my life, no longer felt as hard as they were, or they no longer felt relevant. And things that I didn't think would be hard suddenly became extremely difficult to do. And I guess basically the bottom line is everything that I and my family went through in November and the following months absolutely transformed everything in my life. And it took me a long time to kind of figure out where my heart had settled since then. And it was much bigger than me these last few months. The last few weeks as well, because we had another huge change go down in our family just less than 3 weeks ago, because my beloved husband Chips has finished his PhD program, which is 8 years in the making, and I am beyond proud of him. Any of you guys who've been around for a long time know how our life has largely been shaped by following his own curiosity and passion, and the fact that he is an amazing, amazing teacher. Oh, and I'm so proud of him. I'm so, so proud of him. I mean, I don't think I could be prouder of, you know what? Every time I say that though, my sister or my husband does something that makes me even more proud than I ever thought I could be. And actually, I think that's really fun and beautiful. That I've had the blissful experience in the last few months of being able to learn from my loved ones at how brave one can be in the world, and how there's still room in my heart to be to grow. My heart can just grow bigger and bigger and bigger as I am proud of them. And I've been, I mean, busy. Busy sounds like the wrong word, but it has been busy because as a result, yeah, that's where I've been. I've been at their side. I've been having them be at my side, and we've all been like leaves in the wind as changes swept through our lives in good and bad ways, in hard and, well, bad even seems like the wrong phrase to use, in hard and in unexpected ways. Sometimes that led you to celebrating, sometimes to crying, sometimes to the very shape of your heart changing forever. And that's where I've been. And yeah, it has, I guess technically you could say it has kept me busy. But that sounds like I wasn't doing something I should have been. Alright, I'm getting a little lost in that thought. And basically, I'm just trying to say it was a time of transformation. Maybe I was due. I also, in the last few weeks, just a little under 3 weeks ago, turned 35. And also, in December, we have formally celebrated reaching 10 years of our YouTube channel. And I was still dragging behind me the fact that we reached 10,000 videos like the December before that, and I didn't celebrate, and that's a whole nother conversation. And then the fact that we reached 800,000 subscribers just a couple weeks ago. So there has been a lot. There has been a lot, and if I am a little Seri leaf, those are the winds that were blowing me around, and I needed to figure out some time on when the winds would settle so that I could figure out where I was going to land. And I think I've got my feet back under myself now. And that's where I'm here at right now, is feeling like, okay, I'm not the same person I was, and I never will be again. So it's comforting in a lot of ways to stop trying to wait for things to be quote unquote normal, because my normal is new and different now, and it will be forever. And then I had to kind of wait and listen and look, and even though I haven't been creating a lot of stories here for you guys, I've actually been pouring my heart into trying to understand what it means to create these adventures that we have together, these little connections that we've got. To be completely blunt, really, really blunt, like, pardon me if this sounds a little bit callous, but I had to figure out why these adventures even mattered. I mean, compared to everything that's happened in the last few months, there were 2 or 3 months where I felt like I couldn't read a book, I couldn't play a game, I couldn't figure out how I could stare at the pixels that had once become an avenue to adventure, and why they mattered at all. Because nothing I could do could help my sister. Ooh, yeah. That's always gonna be hard forever. But Yeah, that's one of the reasons it took me so long to be able to get to this point right now, where we can go around gently booping little pixel plants on the head and thinking with excitement how there is actually going to be a Garden Inn update coming pretty soon, where we get to learn a little bit more about the imagination that brought all of these beautiful plants to life. It took me a while to figure out how could this matter? How could this matter? How could this matter? Why? How, like, I don't have any other way to explain it, but I had to take some time to know that what I do here, to ask myself if it really did matter. And I know, of course, I'm a full-time YouTuber, and Chips and I now both are, he's amazing. He's doing a lot of the editing behind the scenes, learning a lot of that stuff now for the first time. And of course, you guys saw we did a few streams. We plan on taking you guys all over the place for where we live and sharing the stories of the wildlife that live here with all of you. But why did that matter? We could make all sorts of goals, we could set all sorts of plans in motion, but I had to. How do you I know I should say, oh, the threat of like financial doom should have chased me out of that fugue state, or maybe out of a cocoon. That's kind of what it felt like. Like maybe less leaf in the wind, and it was more like being a cocoon in a typhoon. Where I had to wait until I landed long enough to go ahead and pop out like a little wobble dog and go, whoa, I don't look anything like I did before in my heart. Well, kind of I do. Like you could see the echo of who I was into who I am now. But I had to take a little bit of time to kind of wait for that cocoon to land and pop out. Um Dang it, I thought I got so distracted thinking of cute little wobble dogs and cocoons, I forgot where I was going with that metaphor. But basically, I needed to know why it mattered to come here. And the threat of, you know, not having a home or being able to eat should normally have been enough to kind of, you know, spook me at the very least into going ahead and telling stories and creating and maybe studying all of those YouTube analytics really, really seriously so that I could make sure that if I only had a little bit of energy, at least I was putting it into the things that made the money. And spoilers, the most money that any of our episodes ever make, if I'm really lucky and they got super popular, is maybe $14 to $20. So nah, I think the time to stress ratio of trying to game the analytics is not worth it. But all that to say, I think my heart was too broken to be able to budge if I was going to use the threat of like homelessness and starvation against myself. I think my heart was so broken that even though I grew up in a very, very poor household and I was very intimately familiar with not knowing, or am I going to be allowed to be in my home the next month? Are we going to have enough money to pay rent? I grew up like mostly with cold showers because we couldn't afford to keep the hot water on. And we would go to Starbucks, or not, yeah, it was a Starbucks actually, where one of my dad's friends worked, and he would give us all of the bread they were going to throw out that day, like in big trash bags, and we'd take them home, and that would be food for the week between that and our free school lunches. So yeah, financial precarity is something I grew up with, and it was an intimate and very powerful motivation for one of the reasons, just one of the reasons why we have so many thousands and thousands of videos. But you know what? You can't really guide a broken heart into a new future by trying to come up even with those practical reasons that should be obvious and practical threats to your own survival. That's what I learned, because it just didn't work. It just didn't work at all. I was really worried. I actually was really, really, really worried, actually, for my literal well-being, because if I couldn't bring myself to come and play games and tell stories so that I could have a roof over my head and food in my stomach, like, come on, we're playing games. I actually think that's the other reason it was so hard to come and really keep the stories going and be the never-ending storyteller I love to be here on the Pixel Biology channel for so long is because playing games almost hurt when there were such huge things that could never be fixed in my family's lives now. It was hard. It felt like it was fake and pretend, trying to go through the motions of saying, I guess that's just the depression of it, isn't it? Where the things you know you love, the small, beautiful, playful things that you know give you so much vitality and add so much to your life and the lives of others. It was hard. I hope those of you who have been through something can understand and maybe phrase it better. But it felt so pointless. And that broke my heart more because somewhere inside I knew it wasn't, and somewhere inside I knew that these little adventures, on the surface to many people, I've had interesting conversations about this, about if being a gaming YouTuber, oh, we pet 500 plants, oh, that makes me so happy, my heart. What a perfect time to go ahead and be able to get that. Oh, my heart, I can't believe it. Did we just get Infinite Garden Skybox as a result of patting all of those plants? Oh my goodness. We'll have to figure out where we're gonna put that. Maybe in the greenhouse? Oh gosh, I totally forgot what I was saying. Basically, I think you guys understand. After you go through something, and then while you're trying to figure out like how to move through your life, you kind of figure out like, you kind of struggle. You ask yourself over and over again, like, what's the point? Is this really that important? And I have my answer now. But yeah, this is not because of financial precarity. What I was trying to say, and I'll wrap up with that thought before I forget again. About that. And you know what? Let's actually move the clock ahead over out in the garden so we can let some of these things bloom, because I've not used this. Let's skip some time. We've never used this before. And I think that'd be fun. Just in case, you know, that little dripping forest wants to grow, or any of the others want to go ahead and bloom and give us some new seeds. Alright. Slow down, Seri. Now I'm getting excited and enthusiastic to be back here, and I want to discover new seeds with all of you and everything else, and time to go ahead and just gently slow myself down so that we can go ahead and finish up that thought. I had to come here, and I have the answer to why it's important to be here now. And it's actually the thing I was looking for the whole time that I was struggling so much the last few months. I can't fix what happened in my family. I can't change that ever. It's permanent. There's no other option. There's nothing. There's no sacrifice, no amount of hard work, no amount of money, no amount of anything was going to make that better. And nothing can make that better. Because little M will always be our little rainbow now. And I had to figure out why it mattered to be here then. And what I was going to say about the whole financial precarity thing, the thing is, I realized that I couldn't, my heart had gone into such a place of oh, this is how bad it could be with all of that, that maybe it's because I grew up always worried about food or a place to live, that trying to threaten myself back into creating just couldn't work, because there was something worse now. And so I just felt too numb to care. And don't worry, I was safe in the hands of my beloved husband, and I'm very lucky because while he was wrapping up his program, we had some fantastic insurance that gave me access to a wonderful psychiatrist, who I hope one day I'll still be able to see, and she helped me through that as well. So when I say these things, I wasn't alone, and I was working through it the whole time. But I realized Oh, the way to move myself forward with a broken heart is not to actually try to scare or threaten myself into being here, into doing something. The way to move forward and the way to return to all of this different and transformed and land like the little leaf in the wind cocoon that I am and come out and be somebody new who still wants to be here is by truly believing with all my heart that every little adventure we create, no matter how silly it is, adds something good to the world. That's what I realized today. And I think it is the culmination of almost actually it is over half a year, because little one has been in the NICU for 6 months now. Wow, yeah. So that's the culmination of half a year of these deep thoughts and of trying to figure out who I am now when everything has been changed in my life in so many ways. And when I was in that place, that hard place, and because I can never fix the situation, it took me a long time to realize it. But I realized that the answer for me, for why I come here and why I want to share these adventures, is because I really believe that every time we share something that brings us joy, every time we share something that we're happy with and we turn it into something real and solid in the world to share with others, we're making the world a better place. And so I can't ever fix a lot of things for my family, for my sister, for myself. But I think I was moving on an instinct in the last few months. And I'm so grateful that I've had the decade of being with all of you as Seri to develop this kind of insight, these thoughts, and these skills. Because without it, I used to be very, very pessimistic. And before you all, my joy journaling, and you and my beloved husband Chips all helped me grow into the optimistic person I am today, I wouldn't have thought this. But even if we can't fix the things in the world that will always kind of hurt and always be hard, I think it's still worthwhile to come and be in these playful, beautiful places. Because every time we add a little bit more of this kind of energy to the world, we make our world bigger. And that means that we have more of our world to lean on when those hard things happen. So that's where I'm at right now. I waxed a lot more poetic than I meant to. But basically what I'm trying to say is I had a good time. Well, today, finally, touching on these thoughts and realizing, and apparently I would just really want to curl up with all of these pretty purples today. So we're going to just end off in here. But today I did have that kind of eureka moment of realizing, oh yeah, it's any of these silly little adventures, Slime Rancher, Wobble Dogs, our Planet Zoo, any of this silliness is worth it because every little bit of happiness that we create is valuable just for itself. And it becomes even more precious and obvious in that value when our world becomes smaller from something that is hard and hurts and disorients us. And we realize, all those little bits of happiness helped make my world big enough that I can get through this, and that I can still see that there can be beauty and joy on the horizon. And even if I can't fix something, that will always be a deep rift in our hearts. I can put some flowers on it. I can add to it with a little bit of joy and happiness. And that's going to transform my world and bring those things into my reality. So that's why, even though these really serious and very big changes and things have happened to me in the last several months, I'm happy to be feeling like I'm really, really waking up now and really ready to not be back, because I think things will still look a little different for me. And I mean, I'll talk more with you guys later about what I actually want to do and share with all of you. But it feels like it really does matter enough to put my feet down and to say, okay, I'm going to make the space again in my life to be Seri and to create stories. They're not magic things that will fix the parts that hurt in my family or myself. But I also think that we can never underestimate the power of joy, of silliness, of just a little touch of beauty, of being able to see or be near someone whose energy is just happy. All right, well, I don't think I expressed myself as eloquently as I really wish I wanted to, but you know what? I added to the world by at least showing up and doing my best to talk about that. And look, we've transformed all of our garden. And once again, I've spent the entire time talking rather than going ahead and actually putting in some of the new plants. So we'll do that next time, and I'll tell you guys more about my plans for what I would like to do on our Pixel Biology channel and beyond, because to be honest, I mean, saying the Pixel Biology channel is just kind of the catch-all for, you know, this place that I put my bits of happiness into. And I'm really glad to stand here and kind of shake off the weird cocoon that I got caught up in and transformed by in the last few months, and to look around and go, yeah, I'm really, really, really happy to be here, to tell more stories, to go on more adventures, so that we can make our worlds a little bit bigger, just with happy, silly things. Because that matters. It doesn't fix everything, but it matters enough. It matters enough that it is worthy of being something I am able to make time for, and able to respect, and able to support, and able to nurture in my life. It's been hard to do that. It's been hard to tell people, sorry, I have to go play games now when there's been so many serious things going on. But now that I understand why I'm here, and it's not because I'm worried I'm going to starve to death otherwise, even though if I didn't show up that would happen, but still, we're not going to dwell on that. And it's not to make other people happy by creating the things they want. I hope it's obvious to you guys by now. It's never about subs or views or anything like that. I actually can't ever see those things. I only know we hit 800,000 because, like, my patrons told me in our Discord. I have them blocked on Chrome, so I can't see anybody's views, can't see anybody's likes, can't see anybody's sub numbers, because it lets me focus more on just if people are having a good time or not creating their adventures. But these are all more conversations for later. I believe it matters now. Again, even if it's quote-unquote just playing video games. Because every bit of happiness we create and we bring into the world to make our world a little bigger matters. And I don't know what it is that you do to create and add a little bit of happiness into your world. I don't know if you perhaps go ahead and craft. Maybe you crochet like my sister has really picked up and turned into a amazing, talented mastermind of. Maybe you like to take pictures of birds, like my beloved husband Chips, who is just a stunning photographer. I'm certain he's going to win one of the Audubon Amateur Awards this year. Like, the pictures he's taken, you guys, they're stunning. Whatever it is, though, whatever it is, I hope you share it. So if nothing, even just with yourself, just bring it into existence. Because you deserve to have your world grow a little bit more and to have it be happy. Silliness incoming, I think. Silly Seri incoming. And I feel better now. Yeah. Because it's really hard. I know it seems silly, but it's really hard when I'm not going to point at views, when I'm not going to point at the analytics, when I'm not going to point at the sub number and say, I have to play games because of this. To tell myself and other people it's important for me to be here. And I don't think it's going to be hard anymore because I can look people in the eye. I can look myself in the eye in the mirror and say it's important because it makes the world happier. It makes my world happier, and that matters. And I hope all of you have something out there, whatever it is, where you don't cut yourself off and say, oh, but this is silly, oh, this is just like a waste of time. I hope whatever it is, that you can know that it matters just because it makes you happy, and you deserve to have your world grow like that. All right, I'm off. I've been a silly goose, and next time we come back, I promise we'll actually talk about things that are more about like, oh, what kind of adventures are we going to do? And shock and awe, we might actually plant some more seeds so we can see more of the adorable plants here in Garden Inn. And rumor has it that there are going to be a lot of new little details added in with a little update that's coming up. So I'll see if I can get in touch with the developers and they can tell me a bit more about that, because they have truly crafted something beautiful. And I hope they feel good knowing that they've put out into the world something that can add little cascades of happiness into so many people's worlds. All right, I've waxed long and poetic. I'm gonna go ahead and see you guys later. Bye-bye.